I'm recording you, so don't mess up. Just kidding.
It's like high pressure Pictionary.
It's a cow.
Sorry, it's the stress. It's a pet.
Music
He touched the butt.
One shot, do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
Slippery.
Slim Bream.
Slim Brainy.
That's a game.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Slim Brainy.
With a real Slim Brainy.
If I show up to the final and you have highlights,
Yeah.
we're gonna have
Some frosted tips.
No, I won't.
Shave each head.
We're just
Alright.
setting up your future.
Alright, so you got the white matter on the outsides, right? And the gray matter is on the insides.
Right.
So the white matter, if I put little X's, okay? So there's the dorsal white column on the back, lateral white column, ventral white column. Okay, so columns are literally going up and down your spinal cord. So this is a cross section, so you don't really see the up and down movement, but that's what's happening. You've got, in terms of the gray matter, you've got the gray horn there, the dorsal gray horn, lateral gray horn, ventral gray horn. Same thing here. Okay, so we can just identify the three areas of gray matter too. Same naming pattern, other than the grays are horns, and the laterals are, the whites are columns. You've got the two dividing walls. This one is the AMF, and this one is the PMS, posterior median sulcus, and the anterior median fissure. Central canal is right in the middle, and then you've got the crossovers.
And those are the commissures, right?
Those are the commissures. You've got two that are in the gray matter. So you've got a dorsal gray commissure and a ventral gray commissure. And you've got one that is from the white matter. And that's the anterior or ventral white commissure.
What about the dorsal root ganglion?
So that's going to be on the model.
Okay.
So we'll go through that in just a minute. Let me just fire up the projectors. So we'll do the same process, but I'll show it on the model, okay? And then we'll also add in the dorsal root ganglia and the roots. All right, I'm going to grab the other cross-section model here. Okay. This is den Nebenstrügen. Den Rückenmark. Ja.
Ja.
From Eminem to German, real quick.
Right here.
Du wow, that's so egal.
Can't hardly Swedish.
Okay, so we got our gray matter, the butterfly. The white matter is, of course, on the outside. So once again, you got the dorsal gray horn, lateral gray horn right here, ventral gray horn. And ventral's at the front. Same thing with the white matter. The lateral, you got the posterior or dorsal white column, lateral white column, and then the anterior, or we usually call it ventral white column. There's the anterior median fissure, the AMF. And there's your PMS. Okay. And we've got the commissures. Okay, so here's the dorsal gray commissure, ventral gray commissure. It's kind of this area right in here. And then the anterior white commissure, you can kind of see it best right here, is about 1/4 of a millimeter. Not much space, but tiny little space where some crossovers can occur. All right, so when it gets to the roots, this is a little more complex, or not complex, but just harder to see on the models. So this is the spinal nerve here. Okay, the spinal nerve is when you get kind of all the roots merging into one spinal nerve. There it is. Ignore the one that's below it. Like this. Here's the spinal nerve right here. Okay, and as it comes into the spinal cord, the fibers that are going into the spinal cord are on the dorsal side, because these are sensory. So sensories are always carried posterior, or dorsal. So this is what we call the dorsal root, or the sensory root. And then that goes into the gray matter, and if it's a reflex loop, then it's just going to come right back out through the ventral root, which is motor. Okay, so this is going to come out of the spinal cord and head over toward the muscles. So again, the dorsal root is sensory, the ventral root is motor. And in the dorsal root, you do get the ganglion is pretty close to the spinal cord itself. So this little bump here is what we call the dorsal root ganglion, because it's on the dorsal root. The ventral root would leave, and there would probably go over to the chain ganglia, or the terminal ganglia, or the prevertebral ganglia, which are going to be a little further away from this. So work with that and see if that makes
And then
sense.